Sufficient resources must be dedicated to maintaining a technologically advanced military. This may not always be possible, especially for smaller or poorer countries, who probably have to either pool their resources together with other similar nations, or to get allies and outsource their technological development to friendly nations with the capacity. This does come with an inherent risk for these countries, and it's a suboptimal solution because it entails subsidizing another nation's research and development. It's also very unlikely that even if that nation is friendly, that it will give the latest models and the latest technology. It will likely want to restrict the most modern equipment to ensure its own national security advantage. Technology plays a decisive role in military affairs, and countries cannot afford to fall behind because their national security will suffer. Every country should, as much as possible, do its own military research. Countries that cannot maintain and produce their own military forces are inherently more vulnerable than countries that can. Sending forces on internationally sanctioned peacekeeping missions must require a referendum. This prevents peacekeeping missions from being used as a loophole through which societies are manipulated into belligerent, offensive military actions. Peacekeeping missions must first be approved by a vote of all members of the international community. This doesn't mean they all have to agree to it, but a majority does before it is a sanctioned peacekeeping mission. This ensures a degree of legitimacy for the deployment and reduces the risk of international reprisals for sending troops into a country that the rest of the world didn't recognize as needing a peacekeeping mission. Veterans from these missions will make national defense forces more capable, and the training they pass on to others will be effective. Valuable skills in coordination and logistics will still be practiced during peacekeeping missions, even if there's no live fire combat. Peacekeeping missions are not the same as internally defending national territory. For this reason, citizens must volunteer to serve on any peacekeeping mission. They cannot be coerced or required to deploy on peacekeeping missions. These considerations are important for avoiding unnecessary conflicts. Requiring an international vote means the peacekeeping mission has international recognition. Requiring that there is a referendum means that the population agrees that it's important enough to participate. Making participation for each individual voluntary means that people are not coerced into actions they don't want to be taking part of that don't have anything to do with national defense. Overall, this will ensure the country is available to help others, but also not get involved in unnecessary conflicts. Practicing simulated military exercises with allies is essential to maintain effectiveness. Referendums should not be required for participation in these training exercises. This is true even if they occur in allied foreign territory, but they must be genuine training exercises and not involve actual combat with live fire rounds. Requiring referendums to engage in international military actions means that most countries that do this will be quite peaceful and they will go to war very infrequently. This means they won't get many opportunities for practice. This is why frequent and varied practice military exercises are necessary. Having a credible deterrence requires the military to be effective. A nation's military must be recognized as capable of inflicting catastrophic damage upon potential attacking forces. It's hard to portray this if the nation never practices. So engagement in frequent training exercises is extremely necessary for any country that has a referendum for international engagement. Military forces are uniquely prepared to assist with many types of natural disasters. Responding to national disasters should not require a referendum, and responding to international disasters must require an official invitation from the other nation for assistance. People must also volunteer to participate in any international disaster response. These responses cannot take offensive military hardware with them, and they are primarily for logistics and medical or other support operations. The benefit to the military of participating in natural disaster responses is that it provides practice in coordination and logistics that can be applicable during wartime. The military has the equipment necessary for large-scale logistics operations over difficult terrain. This helps, for example, when distributing food, water, medicine, and temporary shelters. It helps when getting emergency supplies to remote locations quickly. This acts as practice for distributing ammunition and combat supplies during an actual war. The military can help conduct large-scale evacuations when necessary. This is also practice for mass mobilization and deployments during war. So natural disasters provide practice for a military that is unlikely to see much combat because of the referendum requirement. Redefining national security to include defending against natural disasters is also wise. We can also redefine national defense to include defending against natural disasters. They are, after all, large-scale situations that can cause significant loss of life. They require the mobilization of large amounts of equipment and personnel, so they're good practice, and it's important for national security to be able to respond well to natural disasters. Militaries are well-suited organizations to respond to natural disasters. The hierarchical organization structure of militaries enables making quick decisions and responding decisively to changing circumstances. This is practice for combat operations. Military communication systems are designed to function independently off-grid over difficult terrain. This facilitates coordinating emergency responses when the electrical and communication grids might be damaged or overwhelmed. And this is a good test for vital systems that are needed during combat. Natural disaster responses provide an opportunity to ensure national security while gaining valuable experience carrying out key military functions.